Hello guys, welcome back to another Math with Mitchell video. In this video we're going to discuss the differences between equations, expressions, and functions. So I wrote some examples here. This is an example of an equation. This is an example of an expression. This is an example of a function. We're going to go through and work or how to figure out what the difference is and what you can do with an equation, and how that's different from what you can do with an expression, and how that's different from what you can do from a function. So an equation, as you can see here, is usually written as so. Equations are usually solved, and a big indication that it's an equation is that there's an equal sign. So as we saw in other videos, you can solve for x by subtracting 3 from either side. And so then you get x is equal to -1. So equations, usually the problem will say solve this equation, and they're looking for the answer, which would be x equals -1. Now, yeah, that's basically all for a basic equation. The equations, of course, will get more complex in higher level math, but for now, all you need to know is to solve for x with an equation. Now, an expression, most of the time in Algebra 1, they're going to ask you to simplify the expression. So sometimes the expression will look like x squared plus x plus 2x minus x cubed, and then also I'll add another one, plus 2x squared. And I'll say simplify this. So to simplify it, you want to combine like terms, which I'll probably add another video with just how to combine like terms, but I want to explain a little bit of that in this video too. So combine like terms is whenever you have the same x component, or the same component. So this would be x cubed. That's one component. Right here, this is I guess 1. This would be a 1 component for future reference. But so a constant is always going to have a 1 component, and these are coefficients too. So you're going to add the coefficients of like x terms or like definer terms. So then this simplified equation is going to be, you're going to add the x squared terms here. You're going to get 3x squared. And then you're going to add the x terms, which is going to be plus 3x. And then you're going to tack on the rest. That can't be simplified, which would be minus x to the third. Now, some textbooks will want you to simplify this by putting it in order. So you're going to put the highest polynomial, which is the highest x to the n term. So the highest n term is going to go first, and this would be 3x to the second plus 3x. So that's basically whenever you see an expression, they're going to want you to simplify it. There's really nothing you can solve for because there's no equal sign. So the big indication of an expression is that there's no equal sign. So with a function, which was our last type of equation you'll see, is going to be similar to an equation, except you can't solve anything, but there still is an equal sign. So functions are usually used to manipulate or graph, and so a big indication that you're going to see a function is that it's going to have a f of x, or is going to replace f of x. You can almost think of it, f of x, is going to be equal to y. So you may see this equation written as y equals x plus 3. So that's still technically a function, and it's going to be a function of x. So that's what the f of x stands for, is function of x. So what they'll usually want you to do in an equation like this is they'll say find f of 3. And then they'll give you that f of x equals x plus 3. So to solve that, you plug in whatever they give you here. So this is the x. You plug that into the equation and solve for it. So I'm going to go over here. So then it's going to be f of 3. Sorry. F of 3 is going to equal 3 plus 3 because I substituted the x with the 3. So then that equals 6. That's what they're going to ask you to do most of the time with the function. Later on, they'll ask you to graph it. They may ask you to graph this too, and this would just be, as you'll see in the other videos, this is a linear equation, and you can graph that using the point or the y-intercept form. But that's it. That's basically what you need to know for these 3 different equations. Remember that equations have usually one variable, and they want you to solve for it, and it has an equal sign. Functions have an equal sign, but most of the time the function will stay the same. You're not really solving for x. And an expression does not have an equal sign, and they usually want you to combine like terms or simplify the expression.